Welcome. Hello, everybody. It's nice to see you again. But you'll notice that I'm in slightly a different place. I'm not actually in my prison exercise yard. I've managed to break out, and I'm now in the grounds of St Anthony's School, with in front of me there are the new buildings, and also at the other side there is my cottage with the nice red wall around me, keeping me in. But then I've managed to get a key to the gate, and I'm now with you. Well, we're talking. Sometimes I've been talking to you about saints, and today is the feast of St Matthias, so that would be a very useful one to talk about. But on the other hand, in some ways it's quite difficult because we know very little about him. Very, very little. All we know is written in the Acts of the Apostles, and in the Acts of the Apostles, he is chosen as the replacement for Judas. I just want to make one or two observations about that passage, which may help us to see something of the character of Matthias. Some of them won't, but these are one or two observations. The first observation that I would make about the whole passage is how soon off the mark St. Peter was at wanting to appoint a replacement for Judas. In the Acts of the Apostles there, it's placed between the Ascension, immediately after the Ascension, and before the coming of the Holy Spirit at Pentecost. So that's very early on. I wonder why it was that he wanted to be so quick off the mark. Perhaps he wanted to ensure that they had a full complement representing the 12 tribes of Israel. I don't know, but anyway, he was very quick off the mark. The second thing that I noticed was the number of people who were at that meeting. Now, I've always been led to believe that between the Ascension and the Pentecost, the apostles were holed up in the upper room with Mary and others for fear of the authorities, that they might be picked up. They were easily recognizable as Galileans with their accent, so that they were to a certain amount of danger. And I thought to myself, well, I'd always had the idea that they were there just holed up, as it were. But here now we have 120 people, it said, about 120. And that's quite a considerable number, really. And so they must have got over their original fright, and they were beginning to gather in larger numbers. The third thing that I would notice is that Peter involved all of them in the selection of the replacement to Judas, all of them. So it wasn't just the apostles, he wasn't just selected by the apostles, but all of them were invited to put forward two nominees. And from these two nominees, one was chosen by lot. So, for the first bishop to be appointed after the resurrection, it was selected by the whole community, a practice which has not always been followed down through the ages, where as often as not, bishops were appointed by kings and governors and other important people. And even though the Second Vatican Council gave a nudge in the direction of involving people, there is not very much evidence of wide consultation in the appointment of bishops. Oh, there is a certain amount of consultation, but it's pretty limited, and we don't really know how it goes on. So it's not very open in the way that was an open discussion that they had. But of course it's much easier to have an open discussion with 120 people than it is with the thousands of a diocese. If you're choosing a bishop for a diocese, very much more difficult to talk to everybody or to talk even to a large number of people about the selection of the new man. But more important, I think, than the actual method of selection was the qualifications that Peter required, that they had to think about, the qualifications they had to think about in making their nominations. And I read from the text, he says, someone who was with us the whole time that the Lord was traveling around with us. Someone who was with us from the time when John was baptizing until the day he was taken from us. And also that he can act with us as a witness to the resurrection. So they're the important things there. Really was with the Lord all that time, and he was a witness to the resurrection. And that gives us some sort of a starting point to think of the character of Matthias. And so, he was with Jesus throughout his public life, right away from the start. So he must have known Jesus and his teaching absolutely through and through. So that's an important qualification. He was there from the time when John was baptizing, right until the end. So that indicates that there was a loyalty about him. He was a loyal man, persevering. And he was nominated by the whole community, which means that they trusted him. He was a man to be trusted. But above all, of course, he was to be a witness to the resurrection. And that was very important in the early days, someone who had seen the Lord. So Matthias there, he was knowledgeable about the faith, he was knowledgeable about how he lived, how Jesus lived. He knew his method of teaching, his practice of prayer. Surely an ideal bishop, especially when he could say with absolute conviction that he had seen the Lord after the resurrection, that he'd dined with him, that he'd embraced him, and so on. He could really give that witness that the Lord had risen. Well, gathering in Jerusalem, with those 120, Matthias was just one of the 120, as it were. He would have no idea that by the end of that meeting, he was going to be an apostle. Absolutely taken aback. But just as he had been loyal before his election as an apostle, just as he'd been loyal then, so he was loyal afterwards to the rest of his life, because by tradition, and we don't really know this for certain, but it is thought that he preached the gospel in Ethiopia.